And good evening, everyone. Welcome to TSSR Weekly here from JoJo's Lounge in Bushnell. I'm Dwayne Hewlett. Kenny Suter is alongside, and we took a week off because we went a little different direction last week with our broadcasts. If you were paying attention to what was on TSSR Game Time Live, we did 2 sectional games, both from Abington Avon High School. You can tell I'm old, Kenny. Anyway, we did 2 broadcasts from there, and we did the Hartsburg-Emden and Roanoke-Benson game on Monday night, followed by the Princeville-Southeastern game on Monday night. And then on Wednesday night, we did the Southeastern Hartsburg-Emden game, in which Southeastern won and went on to Super Sectional, where they beat Newark this past Friday. So they are headed to state. Well, they already left, actually. They left this afternoon. You'll see some of that a little bit later in the show, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But it's been a different week, and we have more different things coming because Kenny, girls basketball starts next week, and we are lucky enough to get to broadcast the state championship game for Illinois Man Football Association. So we'll be at Monmouth College on November 19th, a Friday night, to do the state championship game.
It's going to be really exciting to do like a state championship game, and we're rolling right into. We had that little 2 weeks dry spell where we didn't have much, but we're starting back up with those multiple games during the day and getting ready for basketball for both teams and both schools for both teams. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, there'll be more than just one game a night. You know, football, because everybody plays one game a week. We'll have multiple games from both schools for boys and girls now. So it was just the girls playing multiple sports. But we're going to have boys playing multiple games as well, so it should be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it, but we're going to take some time tonight, to look back at what was the end of the football season for both Bushnell-Prairie City and West Prairie. Both those teams lost in the opening round of the playoffs, which was just, I think everybody was happy. I don't want to say amazed, but for the most part, I think surprised that both teams were able to make it to playoffs in their first year in 8-man football. West Prairie's story, I think, maybe a little better than Bushnell's just because of the way the season started and how much they improved and were able to pull together down the end of the season and get in. But great to see both those teams in, not the way they wanted the season to end because they played 2 very good contests or very good teams to open playoffs. A little bit of surprise, not for Polo, who you saw with West Prairie, but Milledgeville got beat last week by Amboy, which, I'll tell you what, you'll hear Coach Rodis talk a little bit about that later. Just pretty much amazing that Milledgeville got beat because they looked really good against Bushnell.
They were the number 2 team in the state for a reason. They are a really good team, play really hard, and I think it shocked pretty much everybody that Amboy went in and defeated them.
Yeah, and, they went in and played well enough to win. And that's, it's like Jason told me the other day. We were talking about a couple things. My brother, Miles' daddy, goes, well, that's the reason why they play the games, and I think that you could say the same thing about Southeastern. We're going to have highlights of the Hartsburg-Emden game against Roanoke-Benson, the Southeastern game against Princeville, and then the game between Hartsburg-Emden and Southeastern. And in all honesty, and I talked to Coach Kerr about this when we interviewed him after the game, I don't think very many people gave Southeastern a real good shot to beat Hartsburg-Emden, let alone to beat Newark and end up at the state tournament. So, they're playing their best volleyball right now, and that's why you play the games.
You play to win the games. I believe that is Herm Edwards, if I am correct. Jets. But, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you can't go into a game saying, oh, they're projecting us to lose. We might as well roll over and die. You got to play to win the game. And Southeastern came in, head full of steam, came in, took out everybody that came across. And we'll see in these highlights, that Hartsburg-Emden team is no joke. That is a very good volleyball team.
Yeah, we saw them play, or I saw them play 4 times, counting the 2 regional games and then the 2 games at sectional. And they have some big-time hitters. But Southeastern, not as big, but they're so scrappy. That's West Central Illinois volleyball, small school volleyball, has always been scrappiness and hanging in and playing tough and doing the things you have to do, which a lot of times depends on defense. And if you can play good defense, you're going to win some games, and that's what they've done. So we're going to take a step aside, do a quick commercial, and we'll be back with First and 10, the last one of the year, in just a few minutes.
MDH has committed to having a top-notch OB-GYN unit.
The new facility, the Dolores Cater Schweitzer Women's Center, this is a quality facility that the patients need to match the quality of care.
And then we also have a new clinic, which is state-of-the-art.
And here at McDonough, we have a team. And everybody feels like they're a part of the successes that we have.
We have a strong team in our office and in labor and delivery. You will get the best care at McDonough District.
Coach, here we are, end of the season. Came in Saturday in Milledgeville, played a really good Milledgeville team. I got to watch a little bit of it on the live stream. Listen a little bit of the post game. You didn't get a lot of chance to talk about the seniors that, are moving on. That was their last game. This is your chance now. What do you have to say about those seniors and the fact that they did play their last game Saturday?
Yeah, there's 7 great kids right there, and I could go on and on about each one of them. They each have something that they brought for this team, and they're going to be a hard group to fill their shoes. We talked about it a little bit today as we're turning in stuff. We always, Coach McCormick always had seniors talk, and we've really kept that alive. We think that's a big thing for our seniors to be able to kind of talk and say their piece about, what their year was like, what their, last 4 years were like, all of that stuff. Kind of let those seniors do that, and I just think it's a good thing for them to do. And we learned a lot about those kids right there, and they learned a lot about us. But their senior leadership, you're looking at that group of 7, and in that 7, most of those kids were in the weight room every day in the summer. There's a couple kids that had to miss here or there, but they really put in the time, and it really showed. And I'm really excited to see what those guys are going to do in the future.
Well, speaking of the future, Coach, as we're standing here by the playoff wall, all the years that Spartan teams have made the playoffs, got the new addition there, 2021.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of the future, you still have a good core group returning over the next couple of years. In fact, what is your outlook here for going into next season?
We're excited that this happened because it'd been a few years, and these guys didn't know exactly what the playoffs were all about. And with their attitude and their work ethic, they got us here. I'm hoping with the group that we have coming back next year that they can take this and get their year right over there where it belongs, because I think they just started a fire. I'm hoping with this young group, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
You guys went up and you played the number 2 team in the state, Milledgeville Missiles, and just watching what I was able to, that looked like a really good team. It was, you guys, from what I can see, it wasn't so much anything that you guys did wrong. You just were outmatched that day.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If you looked at that group that we played, we went up, and I'm not kidding you, we went to the coin toss, and I'm thinking, we got some kids here that we should be able to take advantage. I mean, we had some size on them, and I thought we were going to do some great things, but they were athletic, and they could get after it, and they had the speed that we just, every time we went somewhere, they'd have 2 or 3 guys there, and we had no idea how they got there, But, it shows, I think, that maybe they didn't have huge size, but you could tell that they'd been in the weight room, and they'd done a lot of football stuff together. And we just talked about that in there, about what it takes to be number 2. We got to see that. And, if we're going to want to be number 2 or number 1, we need to know what it's going to take to get it there,
And that was number 2 by 2 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yeah.
It was a 30-28 game between between Polo and them.
Yeah, and where they fall in the bracket, I think you're going to see number 2 facing number 1 in Monmouth here in a few weeks. That's my prediction, and we'll see if that holds true. But West Prairie got to face number 1, and we got to face number 2, and I think you're going to see those 2 guys in Monmouth, playing against each other.
as Dwayne said, we're actually going to get to cover that game.
He asked me to come up.
Well,
so.
it was funny because I heard him say something like, "You can be my football know-it-all," and I was like, "Well, what's Dwayne going to do then?"
Right?
But,
yeah, that's Dwayne's job. He's
right.
got
I
right.
mean, I've been working here for like 13 years now. And I'm like, well, you're going to give up your position, but
Right.
I guess it's deserved though.
Right. There you go.
So, as we do move forward, when do preparations start for next year?
Well, they kind of
about 10 minutes ago.
They just did, because I think those seniors talk. You could sit there and watch those guys, watch them, and get a sense of what those seniors went through and how special it was to those kids. And I think that started the thoughts for next year. Now, if you're talking about physically, we're not going to physically start doing anything until after Thanksgiving. That's what we always wait. We kind of feel like we just had a pretty good season. We always want to give those bodies time to heal and be ready for those weights and drills and stuff that we do. So after Thanksgiving, we will hit it and start talking about next year.
And me personally, I think too, when you come to the end of the season like this, and like you're talking about having your senior talk, football is different than any other sport. Basketball, you play, maybe 30-some games a season. Track and baseball, different meets, and this is the one thing where you work all week long to play one game, and you may only get 9 games.
Sometimes you have 5 practices to play one game a week. So, that's a lot of practices for one guy. Luckily some of our fresh soft kids got to play in 2,
right?
Which is kind of special for those guys. But as you get older, you only play in 1, so you kind of cherish those.
Shows the dedication to put in all that hard work for that one. But how much
game.
that one means.
Right?
Too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you doing this. I know we started, a little later in the week than what we wanted to, or a little later in the season, I should say, than what we wanted to. But hopefully this becomes a thing, and we've got till probably August of next year before I'll sit down. And
right.
Maybe we'll have to come out and check on you through maybe one of the camps or something.
Yeah,
but,
there you go.
But Coach, I do appreciate you taking your time and doing this every week. And
no, I appreciate everything you guys do for us and the sport. I know that you guys have done the radio. I know that when I came here in 2001, you guys were all doing radio from here on, and that really helps build our program, and we sure appreciate it. Players in each one of these groups are very special. I know there's a lot of years here that are not, marked on here, but those kids are just as special because they help build these teams as well. So all the kids that go through this program it's pretty special to us.
And that's kind of why when you said, "Hey, let's do it out here," I was like, "Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have probably seen this."
Right.
Dating all the way back to 1975. There's the gaps for the years in there where I was here.
Right.
You and I probably been around football about the same time through high school football, then into college, and you've been around it continuously more than me since you do this every year.
Right.
But this is nice, and this is also when the kids come down and can look and see. It can be like, that was our year. That was the year I took. We led the team there, or as a, hey, you know what? I want my year up there as well.
Right. Yeah. Leave your mark. You want to leave your mark right here on the wall. So it's a big deal to us, and just look forward to adding a new year every time we can.
Well, congratulations on the first year of 8-man football and leaving your mark, and now you have goals to shoot for in the future.
That's right. We appreciate everything you guys do, and thank you to all those guys.
Thanks, Coach. We'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Welcome back to TSSR Weekly, here from JoJo's Lounge. We're meant to be on a little earlier tonight. We're going to try to move this forward in future nights so we can do their weekly drawing live on air. I did draw that, number 31. I think it was Dan LaCourse, maybe?
I
think
can't remember.
Well, he wasn't here, so it goes up to $150 next week for the winner. So you should make sure you get here a little earlier and take in some festivities and maybe take home a little cash. Of course, they got the great games going on.
You can hear it right now. Somebody's winning over there.
Somebody's been winning quite a bit, actually. It wasn't me. I'm not much of a winner in those kind of games, it doesn't seem like. But so what we're going to do here is we're going to do highlights, right?
Yep.
And just to give you folks an idea of what's going to move on, we're going to do the highlights. We'll probably do a commercial. We'll come back for a very brief little intro to a lengthy end to our show, which is going to be interviews with the entire 10-member team of the Southeastern Suns. Also, some highlights from a pep rally they had today. And then we have interviews with Coach Kerr and Mr. Fox, who you guys may remember if you're from the area, former basketball coach, and he's now the superintendent at Southeastern. So we're going to have that. It is very lengthy, so what we're going to do is we're going to do all of our highlights and our closings, and then we'll have that at the end, and that's how we'll end the show. But it is a lot of fun. The girls had a blast. There's a couple clips at the end where I won't say any names, but somebody might have forgot how to spell their name. The very beginning of that, it's not great audio because of the way we've had to do things, but you got to listen to Mr. Fox talk about his team and about the school as he spoke at the pep rally. It's pretty awesome stuff, actually. So that's going to come a little later in the show, but first we got some highlights. The first set of highlights, we just saw Coach Rodis, and they were giving me a hard time about knowing all for football. I don't know why they would say something like that about me. No clue at all. But we got some highlights from the Milledgeville game. Looks like about 2 minutes worth. This is the first what would be touchdown, but it's going to come back. It's going to come all the way across the field. And look at right here. Bam! Big time crackback block. And you see here he also stepped out of bounds. Or at least it looked like to me he did. But it was no touchdown from the beginning on it because of the crackback block. Not only was that such a good crackback block, did it get one person.
They got the guy next to him, too.
It got the guy next to him, too. So here's Sam Hensley dropping back to pass, and guess who he's going to throw to? Jake Brown. That's right. That sliding catch, that was a great catch by Brown going down to get it. As you can tell, this game got away from the Spartans. They did finally get a score late in the game. There's a great catch by Bittner. Brian Bittner got up there and came down, got the air knocked out of him. But this is a second-half kickoff. You notice it says second quarter. I apologize about that. But they're going to run this back, Milledgeville. And after the game, Milledgeville came up and talked on their radio station. And Coach said, well, I didn't mean for him to run it back, but we hadn't returned a kick, so I wanted my first team kickoff return to get one return today. And that kid right there was a problem all day for the Spartans. Here's Hensley going back to throw one more time, and he's going to get connected to Link this time, and he'll go all the way out to the 50-yard line. Actually, a little cross, 50 to 45, I believe. Now here's Hensley again. He's going to be on the keeper. Nice little stiff arm right there, breaks a couple tackles, and he's going to get down inside the 25-yard line. They actually marked him out close to the 25 at the 24, and this is going to be the only touchdown of the game. Sam Hensley, his senior season ends with him scoring a team's only touchdown in a 64-8 loss. Here's what I guess you could say Kenny's going to be the vision of the team in the years to come. Lane Huffman coming around left side. But this shows you how good this Milledgeville team was. That's the second-string defense tracking Lane Huffman down like that. They were very, very good. So, it's one of those things where sometimes you play some good teams, you see some good teams, and then you see some really good teams at the end of the year. And the way they do this with number one playing 16 and number two playing 15, you're going to see the best if you're at the bottom of that 16 or 15.
And Milledgeville definitely was the best, other than Polo, second in the state. I mean, it's not, you ain't first, you're last. Milledgeville was a very good team, as you saw, and through all the highlights that you didn't see, all the long rushes, a couple even pass plays that were thrown into the mix. Milledgeville was a very good team this year.
Don't ask Amboy about that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Amboy's still playing, and Milledgeville isn't, thanks to Amboy. So, that's why they play the games. But it was a tough loss for the Spartans. We're going to get to the highlights for the Suns and the Stags in a few minutes, but first we're going to see how the season ended for the West Prairie Southeastern Cyclones for the football season as they traveled, and Kenny did this game up the road to Polo.
Going into the Polo Marcos, one of the funniest names I've ever heard. Coming in, this would be the 2-point conversion as what I've done with the 2-point conversion play, little bootleg to the far side. What we don't see, however, due to a camera little glitch that we've had, the entire play kind of got moved out. But Cam Kramer, number 3, I believe freshman, took an entire, I think it was a 97-yard kickoff all the way to the house, broke 3 tackles, and pretty much jumped over the last one to completely finish that one. So that's how we got West Prairie tied up with Polo. However, this was pretty much the rest of the game. That is Colton Sotlow, number 17, rushes through off the off tackle, and they just use that play over and over. Little miscommunication here as a fumbled snap goes in for the touchdown. I believe that is 23.
You can't. It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2. I tried to remember his name, but up here, Rand Palmer. This is a name I can definitely remember. Fullback goes for a long rush. There's a little bit of life coming back at the beginning of the third quarter. However, you can see Polo got it quick and easy at the very beginning of the game. Coming back to their favorite play, Laughlin throws the touchdown pass to Rand Palmer. Palmer gets another touchdown on the year. And the 2-point conversion. Ashland Park is going to get outside a little bit and just a little chip shot throw to Laughlin.
Actually, that's Palmer again, wasn't
it?
I don't know.
Sure.
Go ahead. Sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
And Cam Kramer, this is who had scored that first touchdown, gets in near the fourth quarter as a freshman, gets to the off-tackle sweep. They ran that a couple times, gets 10 yards. Last play of the game, Jesse Johnson goes down the sideline, just gets knocked out. Looked like he could have probably made it with about 10 yards left to spare. However, West Prairie Southeastern Cyclones, first year being consolidated with Southeastern and West Prairie, first year in the playoffs, first year in 8-man football, and I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen.
No, and I think that even less people thought it was going to happen after the first 2 or 3 games, and first 2 games especially. And I think that's the reason why you have to really look at West Prairie Southeastern's season and really give them some serious props, both for the Southeastern kids who haven't got to play football in a year or two, and some of them had never played football, but also the coaching staff. You could see Coach McCormick and the coaching staff kind of grow, and they went into the season thinking, oh, it's just 3 less people, but they saw some nuances. There are some differences, and I know I've said this numerous times, but both coaching staffs, you really have to give them a lot of credit for the job they've done in growing with a different sport. It is different, whether you want to believe it's different or not. It is a little different. I think Kenny and I have talked about on numerous occasions. I think the one big difference that we saw is passing is a little easier, but cutback lanes are the big thing.
Cutback lanes, when you're playing, especially that far side lineman position, your head has to be on a swivel, because one step back could turn what should have been a negative 2-yard rush right into a blitzing linebacker to a 54-yard touchdown the far other side.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that the coaches also recognized, and you saw more of that kind of stuff as the season went along. So I was very impressed with a couple coaches who have been doing the 11-man thing for a long, long time, and that's how you know that you have a good coach, because they're willing to change things that they need to change. A lot of coaches will get stuck in a way, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to lose every game or win every game, but this is how we're going to do it. And both of these coaching staffs this year allowed themselves to change and morph a little bit more to, I think, an 8-man style. And the kids accepted it. The kids enjoyed it. Both of them made the playoffs. I don't think you could ask for any more than that.
That's pretty much as good as it can get from a first year, and we cannot wait to see what will happen next year.
Yeah, and we'll be back here on TSSR Game Time Live to see that stuff in person. Now we're going to go to 3 sets of highlights. The first one is going to be the Stags of Hartsburg-Inman against Roanoke Benson in the Rockets. And you can see that these 2 teams were actually both pretty big, but Clausen's going to set, I believe that's Fangmeyer there on the big hit for the Stags.
Fangmeyer had a huge tournament, one of the main players for this Stags team, and she's going to get another long shot there. However, it's going to be fielded.
And Fangmeyer was a huge player in this particular contest. Clausen is as good of a setter as you'll see. I had Karis Karan helping me with these games, keeping stats for me, and she couldn't quit talking. There's Fangmeyer serving again for the Stags. And they win this one in 2. I believe it's going to be 25-20 and 25-19 if my memory serves me correctly. There is a set point for set number 1, and we'll get back. And it looked like at a couple of occasions Roanoke Benson might be able to come back in this a little bit. Clausen's going to go out and get another kill from her left, and that seemed to be a theme of and that's O'Donohue serving there. And Roanoke Benson didn't give up, though. They got down here big in set number 2, but they brought the block back and started playing. Tried to make a game of it, but the Stags just on that night especially, just too much for the Rockets of Roanoke Benson, and they'll go ahead and lose this one. I guess it was not as close on the second one as I thought, 25-11. So I couldn't remember. It's been a long time since then.
Just a little bit, and your memory might be a little foggy. You know, the years roll on and on.
Well, I am old, you're right, so we'll go with that as it may. But the Stags, I want to thank Coach Hayes before we move on to the next sets of highlights. Coach Hayes and her squad asked us to go on with the team, and I want to thank Reed Kelso, the AD, for Abington Avon, who was nice enough to let us move along with them, and had some great volleyball. And Coach Hayes brought some good advertising to help us out, because that was not something that was on our to-do list, so to speak. So we want to thank her. Now we're going to move on to 2 straight highlights with Southeastern Suns, Lady Suns volleyball, as the first one will be on their sectional semifinal as they played Princeville on the first night of sectionals, which was last Monday, so about a week and a half ago or so. And they fell behind in here in set 1. They were down 8-1 at one point. They came back and tied it 24-24, and then kind of could never get the serve really. And there's Kerr's going to set middle to Stevens, and she gets the kill. And Taylor Wagner was the one that served them back into the game there, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. But you're going to see a 27-25 win here as Wagner actually from the back row attack hit that out. Now what you don't see off camera right here was when Wagner hit that, she started instantly turn and walk towards the bench. And we'll talk to her a little bit about this later in the show, but her teammates tried to say, hey, it's okay, and she wanted no part of it at all. And she was she more or less said, leave me alone, I don't want to hear it, we're going to come back. And come back they did in set number 2. So you're going to see the Suns start to battle back here as Kerr's going to do a bump set. And that is tipped across by Summer Ramsey for the kill. And you can see it's 21-19, and it was really at the end of the last game, it was all Suns. And then as it went along, you really just felt like it's now tied 1 set apiece. And here's a back to the Suns, and it's going to be pushed across by Wagner, and then it's finally going to be blocked down by the Princes. But the Princes kind of hung close in the last 2, but they never really got anything going. And here is the kill that sets it to the sectional final for the Suns. So that's how the first night of action went for the Suns. And excuse me, folks, I apologize. It's that time of year. It set up a match, and I think that a lot of us went in thinking that Southeastern was going to have to play maybe not a perfect match, but a really good match to beat the Stags, because the Stags had height. They had a few things going for them that, while the Suns have some really good hitters, they don't have that height. But like we talked about, when you can play scrappy defense, and if you listened and watched the broadcast, you know that that's the first thing and the biggest thing that Coach Hayes talked about was how she thought Southeastern played the best defense they've played in any game she watched all year against them. And that ended up getting the Southeastern Suns a win. And then really, it wasn't close. I mean, it's a 2-set match. We'll watch the highlights now. But it was one of those deals where you kept thinking the Stags would come back and do something. But the Suns had every answer they tried to throw at them.
Everything that the Stags started up, the Suns had something going for them. So we get a nice little volley here, a little tip down from the Stags.
That was Clausen on the kill there.
As you can see, they get to a pretty high lead at the beginning, 13-9. As it was getting close, the Suns just get right back into the game.
And that was Wagner. Here's Ramsey with a jump serve. It's going to go middle and a kill for the Stags.
That's perfect placement right in that middle section.
Got tied at 24, and here is the final point as Stevens gets a nice little second hit attack for the set 1 win. And then here is the kill by Wagner from the middle. Here's Stevens with the serve now. Clausen's going to set far side, and then her attack from the left is going to fall. It was just one of those matches where you just kept waiting for something to change or something to happen, and whenever you saw the Stags do something, you thought, well, maybe they'll get something. But I'll tell you what, the Suns just were tenacious. And here is the sectional championship point, and the Suns go on to the sectional championship. And, Abigail Schaefer served extremely well. Abby McMillan, we'll talk to her a little bit later, she was the one that everybody talked about as the unsung hero of this Suns squad. And they went on and beat Newark on Friday, and they come back and got their second championship, or their second trip to state, I should say. Now, here's the cool thing, and when I'll tell you what, let's take a break. Let's take a very short break, and then we'll come back and lead into all the stuff we have on Southeastern. So we'll save that for after the break. You're watching TSSR Weekly live from JoJo's Lounge in Bushnell. We'll be right back after this.
My MDH Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation does more than just tape ankles.
They get us back on the court.
My MDH Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation
helps me reach peak performance in the weight room.
Prepares me for competition.
My MDH physical therapists and the fitness programs MDH offers help me on my road to recovery and improve my quality of life.
Come see why MDH Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation was voted best of the best in McDonough County.
And welcome back to TSSR Weekly. I got to remember which one we're doing.
Game time live, race time live. We got everything.
We got a little bit of everything, don't we? You haven't got to do as much volleyball this year as I've done. But the thing you said to me after cutting up the clips of that sectional was those teams were pretty good.
Oh, it was some of the best volleyball that I've ever seen. Cutting through the clips, my normal process is I'll be doing homework or something, listening to the game while kind of watching it and trying to find, a little bit of excitement. I'll go back, re-watch, and find the nice things. I could not do that for these two games. For these two games, as you saw while I was here, I had headphones in, watching every little minute, trying to find the best that we could see, because all of these teams were really, really good, especially the Southeastern team that went on now to state.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the cool thing is we got to do those games, and it wasn't something we had planned. It's something that just kind of came up. And Miles is not doing a very good job on the camera tonight because you're half off the camera. You've been half off for most of it, but we're just about ready to get off the camera, so it's a perfect time to talk about it.
Oh, well.
I thought about just grabbing you. Excuse me. It's that. I tell you what, folks. I shouldn't even be talking tonight, probably. I don't know. What I was saying is that they were extremely excited, and the cool thing about these small schools going to the state tournament is the fact that everybody's involved, right? I mean, it's the little kids know the older kids, and younger kids' parents know the older kids' parents, and really exciting time for them. And when we go to this little video, you'll see Coach or Coach Fox. That's what I still call him. He's Superintendent Fox now. But you'll see him, and he's the one out there leading the pep rally.
Oh, yeah.
And he is the most energetic one at the pep rally. I mean, it's unbelievable, the enthusiasm, and we did take some time to talk to him afterwards, so it's a very lengthy. You're going to see a few minutes from every kid on the team, which there's only 10, so don't be overly scared by that if you want to watch. You'll see some highlights from the pep rally. You'll see some highlights from the team leaving after they got on the bus to leave, and the kids lining up the street to send them off. Fire trucks and police cars, all the stuff that you would expect from every small town. They got let out that way, and it doesn't matter if they get first, second, third, or fourth. They'll be led back in the exact same way, and that's what's really awesome about small school stuff. So we're not going to come back after this is over. This will be the conclusion of the show. So stick around. Make sure you watch this. If you're coming in late and you're watching it as a recording, these girls are having a ton of fun. I will tell you, they're all dressed up like hippies. They each time they've played in a game, they've done some sort of a theme. And that theme today was hippie style. Coach Kerr actually asked me yesterday, he goes, do you want them to change? I'm like, no, have at it. It's fun. So we are sticking on here, and this is the start of the video. You got about 16 seconds of the logo here. I do want to tell you that you're going to open with some stuff from Todd Fox. It's not great audio because of the way we did it, but it is really cool, and make sure you listen to what he tells us girls.
Look at me real quick. We just got one message for you. Number one, we love you so much, and it does not matter. It does not matter what happens to us going on. We love you so much. Please say your prayers and be humble and be grateful for what you have and what we have. And number three, be bag of bones. You do those three things, you are champions right now. Friday, we're taking 3 day buses. Make sure that you understand that back in 2001, our motto was classy and crazy. And in 20 years, that hasn't changed. We got to get classier and we got to get crazier than ever before at 10:30 on Friday. That's what we do. That's how we roll. That's the Southeastern way. So let's bring it classy and crazy. Let's bring it on Friday morning. So let's start the assembly. I tell you what.
Okay, well, I'm really proud to be a part of this team. I think it's really special, and I am really excited to go to Redbird. It's always been my dream to play there, and I'm just really happy that we've made it this far.
Okay, a freshman, middle hitter, playing a big role on the team. You got some really good upperclassmen with you, but how fun has it been for you to know that this is your first year in high school and you're going to go to Redbird?
It feels amazing. I'm so glad that I'm a part of this team, and they've just really welcomed me and made me feel like family.
You know, we've talked about Redbird, but this court here has had a lot of success too. I mean, you guys are, 37, 38-2 now?
Yep.
So a lot of those wins come on this floor. You're going to have a pep rally here in a little bit in the gym, I would imagine.
Yep.
What's it like playing on the floor that so many great teams have played on before?
It's just a really big honor. I always look up at the banners, and I know a lot of the players that are there, and I just really look up to them and want to be like how they played. And I love playing on our home court just as much as any other court.
So you come from junior high volleyball,
Yep.
varsity ball, a bit of a difference, I would imagine, for you.
Definitely.
What's that transition been like for you, and how important has people like Summer been for you to be able to get into the flow very quickly?
The transition definitely has been great, but I've played some club volleyball, so I've had a little bit of experience, but it's definitely been like crazy. It's a lot more competitive, a lot more fun, and Summer helps out a lot because she's a great friend. She always hypes everyone up. She's just a great part of the team. Always excited to be there.
So I talked to Coach Kerr after one of the sectional games, and he said that he'd be happy with 2 losses at the end of the year because that means you made it to Redbird Arena. What are you guys? Ultimately, of course, you want a championship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everybody wants. But are you happy, or how do you keep pushing now that you've made it to state? How do you keep pushing to try to do more?
I think mentally is really what we need to work on. What we struggled in the past is getting down, but we've been able to come together and win those games. I think it's just mentally we need to be prepared and just have fun and go out there and play like us.
You got anything to add to that?
I also think that coming into it, we're just looking to have a lot of fun, but also to win. We want to still win and continue our success.
Well, you guys obviously there's a height difference. You have a little bit different game.
Yeah.
You spend all your time or a lot of your time at the net, and when you're at the net, you're a force of the net.
Yeah.
You, I think, are more successful in the back row. I think
Yeah.
you're one of the players that are diving all over the place, trying to keep every ball off the floor. Is it pretty neat that the two of you can be such good friends and still be able to do opposite things on the floor as maybe your focus?
Yeah, we're also right by each other in the rotation,
Yes,
so
yes.
yeah, we always celebrate right by each other.
So as Coach Kerr did that on purpose, you think?
I don't know.
We'll have to ask him that.
Yes.
All right, ladies. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate taking a few times. Hopefully, you didn't freeze to death. And the 70s hippie style is pretty cool. So we will talk to you guys maybe after state and hopefully bring home a championship.
Thank you.
All right, so ladies, I'm going to start with you, Taylor, because
Okay.
I actually mentioned to Coach Kerr after, I think it was the Princeville game when you guys lost the first set of the Princeville game.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually had, I think, a hitting error to end that or a service error. I don't
did.
remember.
I did.
And somebody came up to you and tried to say, you know, keep your head up. And
Yeah.
you wanted no part of it.
No. I
You
wasn't
were
very
way
happy.
past caring about being brought up. You were wanting to win, weren't
Yeah,
you?
I wasn't very happy with myself after that first match.
So you came right back out in
Yep.
the second set and just really dominated the rest of the match. So, and you show a lot of emotion when you play too. Do you think that's an important part of your game?
It definitely is, because if you don't show emotion, other people can't feed off of that emotion. And so it's going to be a little more difficult. Like when you're up, it's easier to play hard.
So I just had Stevens out here, who was the freshman.
Mm-hmm.
You've kind of been, everybody talked about you from the time you started. You lost a year and all that stuff, unfortunately, or kind of lost a year, however you look at that. How much help have you been able to be for her, do you think, talking to her as far as, everybody's expecting you to do this or that, but you have to maybe keep things in perspective?
I think, I don't want to say that she looks up to me, but she definitely, I give her advice now and then, and we definitely play very well together. Better than I thought we would.
She said that everybody accepted her really, really quickly and
Yeah,
really
we did.
well.
We did.
That has to have something to do with her, right?
Yep.
It makes it easier for you guys to do that.
She's a very lovable and easy person to play with.
So, I haven't even talked to you yet, but I'll get to you in just a second, I promise. Your mom had some success back in the day. Not at Southeastern,
did. Nope.
but at Colchester, so
Yep.
not very far down the road. So,
Local.
she has always been a great volleyball player. She played at WIU.
Yep.
I'm sure she pushed you to play volleyball.
She did.
You get some of that skill from her. Does she give you some good pointers through the years?
She definitely has. She deserves a lot more credit than she's given. Yeah, my parents were trying to get me to start working out and improve on my playing, and it took me a while to finally cave into it, but I'm glad I did, because it's definitely helped me a lot.
All right, Abby, we've talked about the other two, the two big names, so to speak, but everybody that I talk to, I'm pretty good friends with Karis Coran. I talked to Coach Kerr after the game. Everybody I talk to is like, McMillan is the one that's kind of the glue that holds this thing together. She's the second middle. She does everything well. You don't get a whole lot of praise, I don't think, from everybody, but it seems like everybody that knows volleyball thinks you're kind of like the key to the cog, so to speak. Do you feel that when you're out on the court?
Yeah, I definitely do a lot.
So I saw you serve. I saw you hit a lot. We went back to the second and third set of the first sectional match. When Taylor took off, you kind of took off at the same time. It was kind of the two of you that kind of pushed things forward. Knowing that you have a couple other really good hitters, does that help you at all? As when you get up there, maybe a lot of times they think, hey, the back row, starting back rows now at the front, we have a chance here, but you don't really give them that chance, do you?
Yeah, it helps a lot having those two. better hitters that you always know can back you up is really helpful.
Now, I think that probably, I know volleyball a little from hanging out with Karis and talking to Coach Paul and all the people I talk to a lot, but I think a lot of teams you'd probably be the starting middle or a starting left or something like that on a lot of teams. So that does that make that a little easier because you're maybe playing against the second best on the other team, but you're still as good as anybody else that you're going to face probably?
Yeah. I mean, it challenges me a little to be the first middle, to be like the starting middle, but I staying confident and never being down.
So one of the things I've noticed is Coach Kerr plays 6 people essentially. You guys play a complete rotation, so your bigs have to pass, and your smalls have to hit. Does that make the game a little more fun for you guys, or does it make it a little more stressful?
It has its ups and its downs, because some games, some of us aren't playing our best, but we don't necessarily play terrible, but it's hard to, I don't know,
having the bigger hitters on the opponent side definitely is a little more challenging with the littles passing, but having those big blockers in the front really helps too.
Well, I will let you guys get back inside where it's warm. Hippie day today. You're getting on a bus. Now, my question is, are you guys going to wear this outfit all the way to Bloomington today?
I don't know. I think some of us might, but
I think we will.
You got to keep the glasses on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You should talk Coach Kerr into letting you wear those during warm-ups.
The past games, we've worn our dress-up days into the gyms, like at the sectional games, and I told our team, I go, we should wear this under Redbird when we walk in on Friday.
There you go. Sounds like a plan. Well, ladies, good luck. I greatly appreciate you
Thank you
coming and talking to us, and we'll be watching when you're at Redbird.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. All right, ladies. Well, it's Wednesday, and you're heading to Redbird, or at least to Bloomington today.
Yep.
So, how excited are you?
I can't even explain. I've heard all the stories from when my mom went back on the 2001 team, and I just cannot wait. It seems so exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting to just experience it with some of my best friends and just going and just having a good time.
Well, you've been here, or you've been to Redbird, I would imagine, right, Annie?
Yes.
A time or two.
Yes.
With Dad, but not in this capacity.
Nope.
So how cool is that for you?
It's awesome. I've always dreamed about, like, whenever I would go watch the tournaments, I'd always dreamed about playing there, and now it's finally coming true, so it's awesome.
Well, it's obviously a windy day. Abigail's getting a face full of your hair on the regular here.
Yeah.
Abigail, you mentioned that your mom went to state in 01, I think, right? With Southeastern.
Yep.
So you're kind of carrying on a family tradition, right?
Yeah. Funny story, my grandma would actually have been on the 81, is that right? 81 team. And so then my mom was on the 01 team, and now I'm on the 2001 team. So
every 20 years, a Schaefer relation is
Yeah.
going to be on there then, huh?
Yep.
Well, that's pretty cool. So have they given you any advice? Has your mom given you any advice coming into
yeah.
this week?
My mom, she was an excellent player, and she's given me a lot of advice, and really my whole family really has. It's been really helpful.
Annie, I mean, you've been around this your entire life, so you've learned stuff constantly.
Yeah.
Your dad said you were hobbled a little bit going into the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Are you feeling good and ready to play good for Saturday? Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's still about the same, but I just put some Biofreeze and take some Advil and Tylenol and just hope to get through the game.
Well, I think that at this point, I mean, you're a senior, right? So at this point, you can't leave anything on the floor, right? You got to try as hard as you can and do everything you can, right?
Yep.
I think that's something that your dad has kind of coached in his 25-ish years that he's been here, right? That's the kind of coach that he's kind of portrayed onto his kids, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do you feel any added pressure? I know I asked your dad at the post-game show if he felt more pressure since you were playing. Do you feel any added pressure since this last postseason for his last daughter?
I mean,
have you felt any added pressure for that?
not really, now that you put it that way, kind of, but I mean, they're just so supportive, and they just support everything that I do, and they don't really put that much pressure on me, but...
Well, I would imagine you're a pretty good setter, so you probably put enough pressure on yourself, right, to do the right thing.
Of course.
And that seems to be a trait of a good setter, is putting pressure on themselves to do things well. Mm-hmm. I would imagine from a young age you knew you were going to be a setter, probably. So what did you find early on? It was the practicing key to make you what you guys are doing today.
Just getting those reps in and asking my hitters feedback. That's just key. Asking them where they want the set, like if it's wrong, like if it's not where they want it, just asking them where they want it and just trying to get it there every time.
Abigail, I mentioned your name several times during this 2 sectional games that we did. You served really well at really important points in both of those sectional games, really. Or sectional matches. How important is that? Because you're only a sophomore, is that right? I remember. So how important and how much pressure do you have on you as a sophomore for these juniors and seniors that are moving on?
Well, I don't really feel any pressure, but I really like my seniors. Like, they're like family to me, so I really do want this for them. And so when I serve, I think, well, if I miss this, then I feel like it's all my fault. So I just try to do it as best as I can.
So you mentioned that your grandma was on the 81 team, your mom was on the 01 team, and you're obviously on the 21 team. How many family members are going to get to go down with you guys? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. I think I have some family up from Chicago that I think is coming down. And I'm not really sure how many are coming, but I think that's quite a bit.
So it won't be their first trip to Redbird anyway for some of them, right? That's cool. Well, ladies, I greatly appreciate you stopping and talking to us. Good luck this weekend, and when you get that championship, we'll come back and talk to you next week, okay?
All right. Thank you.
That's some nice hair you got there, by the way. All right, ladies, you are T-minus 20 minutes or so from a pep rally that's sending you to Redbird Arena. How exciting is that?
It's really exciting. We actually already had a pep rally at the elementary, and it was really cool, and it was really fun because all the little kids, they were screaming. They were like really excited.
So what's it been like? What's it been like for you so far?
It's been amazing. The girls have been everyone's so sweet, and it's just like a whole family.
Well, I noticed that for super sectional, they took half a day I think it was off school, right? So I would imagine they're taking some time off this week, right? I didn't see it, but maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But how cool is that for the school to get behind you guys like that and say, hey, we're going to give everybody that wants a chance to go to the games?
It's really cool because it gives the school an opportunity to support us, and it feels good that we know the school is behind us, and it's also good because all the other kids, they get to experience it with us and just follow us on our journey.
Well, you're dressed up in 70s gear and you got the cool sunglasses on. What's that been like, all these dress-up days through this run for you guys?
It has been so much fun, and we get to dress up all silly, and it's just exciting. And we go to the games dressed like this, and we are just loving it.
Well, I talked to Taylor and asked if you guys were going to wear these into Redbird Arena. She said her vote's yes. What's your guys' vote?
Well, I'm definitely going to wear it down there, but we're not going to Redbird Arena until tomorrow, I don't think. And we kind of already talked about it as a team that they want us to look more classy, so we're going to...
You know what? In 1978, that would have been super classy.
Yeah, I know.
So it just depends on the era you're in. Everything's classy, right?
Yeah.
All right, so what's it going to be like when you step on the floor, that Redbird Arena floor, and get to take warm-ups and play at a state championship weekend?
I would probably have no words because that big of a place is probably horrifying but so exciting at the same time. All the emotions are coming.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I look forward to seeing what you guys can do. I appreciate you coming out and talking to us for a few minutes, and enjoy the bus ride, enjoy the atmosphere, and we'll come talk to you next week after championship. How's that sound?
Yep, thank you.
All right, sounds good, ladies. Thank you. All right, ladies, so other than not knowing how to spell your names, well, one of you knows and one of you doesn't. We won't point out which one. We won't point out which one it is, but been an awesome run for you. I think you guys have had a lot of fun doing these dress-up days, winning games. How cool is it going to be at Redbird?
Crazy. I don't, there's no words really. It's just crazy to think that you're going to play in a college gym that big, like everybody, the best from all around the state, playing against you and with you.
So there is actually 8 classes now, right? 4 classes. There's 4 classes. So the big schools and the small schools are all there in the same day. will you guys get to see any of those other games be played? So do you find that kind of cool to see what that big 4A school is going to look like in comparison to what you guys do?
Yeah, I'm super excited to be able to watch the 3A and 4A schools. I think it's going to be so cool.
Yeah, I think we have scheduled that we're going to play and then watch and then go eat and then come back and watch the other games because we really want to watch because I think Amanda, she's got family that is also playing there too.
So what do you think that feeling is going to be like? Don't be afraid to talk real loud because the window.
Okay.
What's that feeling going to be like when you step on Redbird, you think, for the first time on the floor and you receive the first little toss to hit or whatever? What's that going to be like for you?
Oh, I think I'm just going to look up and just look at all of the whole ceiling and just be like, just look at a big ceiling and like just look at everybody and all the seats and it's kind of crazy to think that there's so much room in such a big arena.
What do you think?
I think
Well, I'm thinking that I would look up and say, hey, I don't have to worry about hitting the ceiling.
Yeah, especially in our gym. It's pretty short.
So you guys play at a place that is known for volleyball. Coach Kerr has kind of built a program here.
Yeah.
There's several of them in West Central Illinois, and he's one of them.
Yes.
That has built a program that people, when you step on the floor here at Southeastern High School, there's a level of expectation, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what's that like? Does that make it maybe a little easier when you go to Redbird because you've already played with that level of expectation?
No, I think you still got a lot of expectations to fulfill because you come from a good program and you come from a good coach and good teammates that are surrounding you, so you want to try to live up to everybody's expectations and your own expectations as well.
What do you think?
I think that we've already met a lot of our goals and done a lot of things that we've always wanted to and done so much more than we thought we could. And so going there, we're just gonna do more, and the pressure is kind of on since we're going there and doing this, but it's also all for fun. We're all just having fun.
All right, ladies, you got a pep rally to go to, right?
Yes, we do.
The kids were screaming at the last one, I guess. So you guys,
my gosh, they're loud.
the high schoolers have something to live up to, right?
Well, they fulfill it for sure.
Okay. All right, ladies. Thank you for talking to us. Good luck this weekend, and maybe we'll come talk to you after a championship next week.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right, Coach Kerr, I guess when you've been coaching for 25 years or whatever, it's 25. I don't even know how long
It's 25.
It's 25. I knew it was in between
Yeah,
somewhere,
yeah.
but I didn't want to make you older than you were.
2 years of golf and then 25 years in volleyball. So 27 total, I guess, plus some basketball and some softball along the way.
When you've been coaching that long, I guess that you want this to be the end of the season, right? You
Yeah.
want it to be.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
And you've done it a time or two, but every time we talked about it, winning a section, does it ever get old? Winning a super section never gets old either, right?
No, for sure. It's really awesome. You know, we've had some really good success at the junior high level. You know, we've been to the state tournament multiple times. You know, maybe even like 10 or 12 times. But at the high school level, this is only the second one. You know, so my 5th year coaching, we went, and then now my 25th year coaching. So 20 years later.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Because Abigail Schaefer pointed out that her grandmother went in 81.
Yes.
Her mom was on your team in 01.
And that was the pressure of trying to get back in 21 because I tried to keep that fact from everybody, but everybody found it out and everyone wanted to tell everybody. So all of a sudden 81, 01, 21 became the rally cry, and that was a little extra heat to try to get that done. So yeah, it was really cool.
Now, I talked to Annie a few minutes ago, and you and I talked a little bit about you were giving Coach Hayes a little bit of a hard time after the sectional championship game because you had written a note.
Yes.
Because you didn't know if you'd be able to say it.
Right.
And I mentioned, you said how you felt a little pressure because it's your last daughter and her last year.
Yeah.
I asked her about the same thing, and she said, "Well, I hadn't really thought about it that way. Thanks." But but that's has to be a dynamic that's fabulous for you.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, like you said, we've been doing volleyball for 25 years, and I had 3 girls go through. You know, Allie and then Abby. Abby didn't finish her career. She decided to kind of switch gears and went to the music direction, and so then Annie's kind of my last one. You know, so obviously I have Carson the boy. He's a freshman, so we do a lot of different things than volleyball with him. But yeah, it was cool, and she can tell you there wasn't pressure. She hadn't thought about it, but I guarantee you, since we won the super sectional, she's been a little bit lighter. there's been a little bit of a burden lifted off of her as well. So it's been nice. It's been really nice. We don't talk a lot about volleyball, outside of the gym and stuff, but there's definitely a bond there that has really been a special year for us.
Did you ever have concern for your girls, because you're the coach and everybody just expects the coach's daughter to be good?
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of times it's the setter that ends up being the coach's daughter.
Right, exactly.
So have you ever felt like, man, I'm just adding a little extra pressure on her?
Yeah, that is the case, and you're right. A lot of times you see, in baseball it's a pitcher, or whatever, football it's a quarterback, and in volleyball it's a setter a lot of times. Sure, absolutely. They look to her, and then she theoretically touches the third of the balls, and it is a lot of pressure. Athletically, she's not the most athletically gifted player on the floor out there, and I know people notice that. But as far as just being smart and making good decisions and just getting things done and being tenacious, and she really has. She's had a really great year. She along with Amanda and Taylor were named all conference first teamers last night, and it's nice when the other people recognize her as well. She made all tournament team at the beginning of the year at our Lady Suns Classic, and we came home and she said, "Dad, did you do that?" I go, "Annie," and her mother decided to kick in, and he wouldn't do that. It'd be completely opposite. You have to really make it to make it. So, it's some extra pressure there, and being able to be the person where it's easy to say if the ball's not hit well, then it never gets set. So, she's done really well with that.
Well, obviously, we need to say something about Wagner and Stevens, but let's look at McMillan for a second.
Sure.
Karis Coran did one of the games with me. You talked about Abby after the first game.
Right.
Wagner's a huge hitter. Stevens is a huge blocker and going to be a huge hitter.
Yeah.
But if for you, and I think you would agree, McMillan's kind of the glue that's kind of held this thing together.
Yeah, she is. It's funny you say that, because a lot of people don't notice her. It was exciting for me when we talked the other night that you and Karis both had noticed her. She was actually named first team all conference last year as a sophomore. Taylor had hurt herself, and she had missed half of our games. We only played 12 matches, so Taylor missed half of her matches. Obviously, Amanda was dominating things in the eighth grade level. So, Abby was our number one at that time. And if you have someone that goes from your number one to theoretically your number three, you're probably pretty good.
Right.
So I've always said if she's our third best hitter, then we're a pretty good Class A volleyball team. So, and not only the hitting, but also she's serving the ton. She's just serving the crap out of the ball. She's serving 96% and leads us in aces and leads us in service points, and defensively she's super solid. So she really is someone that I feel bad for, because she doesn't get all the publicity and credit that she deserves, because she really is a really nice volleyball player.
Wagner and Stevens, real quick. I know you got need to get you there, but completely different kids. It seems like. I mean,
yeah, totally.
Stevens is a kind of a laid back, easygoing, and Wagner is in your face, wants to just all of emotion, and they play beside each other, but they're completely opposites almost, right?
Yeah, they are. As far as on the floor and with results, they're very similar. They're very dynamic players, and they wow you from the very first time they swing the ball in warm-ups. You're like, whoa, that was impressive. Both of them do. And obviously Taylor, being a senior, a little smaller, probably more athletic, jumps a little bit better, but she doesn't start up as high as Amanda does either. So Taylor's had a great career, and she really has. And this year has been, I'm so happy for her, because she's just, everything's kind of culminated into this year that she's just really dominated, pretty much most of the season. Defensively, I'm really proud of her too. She wasn't always the most solid on serve receive and passing, and she always had the ability, but there was just something missing. And she's really put that all together this year as just a really good defensive player for us as well. And then Amanda, obviously, I came into the year thinking, okay, Amanda Stevens, she's going to have, and I made the statement before that Amanda Stevens is going to have a Colby McClellan-like splash in the area in terms of when she gets into freshman. Colby came in very first and was the MVP of our tournament, first varsity tournament she ever played, and I'm like, Amanda's going to do the same thing. So Amanda did the same thing. She was MVP a couple different tournaments, and really is a dominating force as a hitter, and she plays beyond her years, not only just physically, but just she thinks the game so well, and she's just really a powerhouse. Her strength is what people don't really realize or people do realize. I mean, how can she be a freshman? She looks like a sophomore in college right now with her strength. So that's something that is really an asset for her, and hopefully that'll just keep getting better and better and better.
Well, Redbird Arena, again for you. Your girls have parents with experience there. It's not it's like it's their first time, but there's a lot of experience there. How excited are you as a coach to get to go back?
Yeah, we're super excited. I didn't never know. Obviously we went back in 01, and we had a couple good runs in between there. Obviously with Colby Madison, that group, we thought, okay, this is our chance to get there again. And West Prairie foiled those plans for us that one year. And I didn't know if we'd ever get back again. Small school and kind of limited resources and things. And I thought maybe that ship sailed for me and for us as a school and for myself as a coach. And it's so exciting. And these are some of the greatest kids we've ever had. Just really nice kids, and you kind of get a feel for them when you're talking to them. They get along really well. They're good friends and good people, good in the classroom, and it's really exciting. It's super fun. We've had a great community outpouring of just support, and on Facebook, I can't tell you how many people have texted me or Facebook messaged me, or just it's been really cool. So super excited, and hopefully we'll go put on a good showing.
All right, Coach. Well, maybe next week we'll come back and talk to you after a championship or something like that.
That would be fantastic.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Have fun at your pep rally.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
See you.
All right.
Okay, well, it was funny during the pep rally. It was Coach Fox. It was Mr. Fox. This is your livelihood here at Southeastern, isn't it? It's a lot of fun seeing a team go to state, isn't it?
There's no question. This has been a long 18 months, heck, almost 2 years that our country and our state and our region and our schools are going through. But the group of people that's been the most affected is our young people. And to have a positive moment like this, a chance for us to let our hair down and to smile and to laugh and to gather and cheer on our classmates, we needed this. We needed this. And that's why it's so humbling, because, a lot of schools need this. And just so proud of the educators around this state, what they're doing in their schools, and for us to be able to laugh and to come together and cheer our team on is perfect timing for us.
Well, I know that for you, you've been at Southeastern Flunk. You have been a coach. You've been all kinds of things in the school district. You and Coach Kerr have to have a pretty good relationship as long as you've been here together. So, as far as from one friend to another, seeing your friend get to state has to be special too.
Absolutely amazing. My first year was 1990. Tim Kerr was a senior. And so I've known him since I walked in the door the first day in 1990. And the thing about Tim Kerr, and if you know him, you know this, great coach, great teacher, great administrator, but he's a better person. And that's why his girls play for him. They play hard for him because he loves them. You can coach and you can go through all the X's and O's, but it's all about relationships with kids. And there's nobody better than Tim Kerr with that.
I know that when the Super Sectional came on a Friday, you guys immediately made the announcement, hey, we're going to take a half a day off school so that everybody can go. This small school feel, everybody's involved. The little kids know the big kids, and the little kids' parents know the big kids' parents. Everybody knows each other, so that's a very important aspect. But do you think it's a little more special for this small school than it is for the bigger school who kind of just spreads out and maybe don't know people?
Yeah, there's no question that we're a family school. And even though people come and go, we're a family school. And so anytime that we have any success, doesn't have to be sports. Anytime that we have any success, we celebrate as a family. This morning, Mrs. Lance, the elementary principal, and Autumn Shilley, and the assistant coach, put on a pep assembly at the elementary. Oh my gosh, it was special. To see our pre-K kids and our kindergarten kids cheer on these girls, look up to these girls. That's what it's all about. That was so special this morning.
Let's go back real quick before I let you go. You said it's the kids needed this, and I've known you through coaching long enough to know that I don't think you just mean Southeastern kids. Kids across the state need this weekend and need this playoffs and need all the other stuff.
Well, no question, and I touched on it before, but it's been a long 18 months going on 2 years for this entire country, this entire state. But it's our young people across the state are the ones that, you can't make up those moments. You don't get those moments back. And we talked about it, last spring. We need some positive vibes, and for this to happen to us is very humbling because every school in the state needs this right now, and we're just very blessed that it happened to us, and we're going to make sure we respect that.
Well, that kind of, Coach Frey was here and said that maybe like 2036, I think he said, you're probably going to run for president. That sounded,
36,
yeah,
right?
36 is what he said. That kind of sounded like a political answer, didn't I mean, it sounded like a guy who could be running for president.
I don't have any doubt. And just like I told everybody, I may be dead by then, but I'm going to vote. And I'm sure I can get the vote.
You mentioned having fun, having Coach Frey here, having Michaela here, having the video. It's really a history thing for this school now, isn't it? Every 20 years, a volleyball team goes to state, it seems like, and the basketball team is always good. And I mean, it's a history thing, and you guys really brought all that in together.
And we do that not just in sports. We talk to our kids a lot in all school assemblies about the tradition, about the heritage, about how we were all raised, and trying to protect the house during these crazy times gets difficult. But, you know, I've said this to a lot of people, but when Coach Frey handed me the keys to the car, all I wanted to make sure I did was make sure I didn't wreck it. That's the pressure that I feel every day, is to live up to what he did for so many years for this school district. And I would have said that even if he wasn't standing right next to me, I promise you that. So.
Well, one of the things you mentioned, not wrecking, don't want to crash the car. You guys were both here, I still think, when the fire happened, right? And you guys, you weren't, you were already gone then. But that's something I mean, you didn't obviously crash it, but you had a hard, I mean, that was a big deal for this community, and you guys have a nice state-of-the-art facility now.
We talked about it the moment that it happened, was how do you turn a tragedy into a blessing? Well, how do you do that? You come together. There were people on that day who thought that meant the end of the Southeastern School District as they know it, and we didn't look at it that way. We rallied the troops, you know, because what we think we do here is special. It's worth keeping, and you know, we owe it to our people. And so, yeah, there's no question moments like the fire bring people together, make you appreciate all the small things that maybe you take for granted day to day. And, man, you know, we have a great school district, but it's because of our kids. You know, that's the one group of people, you know, administrators come and go and teachers come and go. It's our kids. That's the foundation of this whole thing, and I couldn't be prouder of them. And, again, not just the volleyball team.
What do you want to say to the volleyball team? This is going to air tonight. Message to the volleyball team for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same message I've been giving them for about 2 weeks now, but I just want them to love each other and to take care of each other. I think that's critical. I want them to say their prayers and be humble, because it could have happened to anybody. It happened to us, and we're very blessed. And then I want them to be bad to the bone. You know, when you're down 19-12 in a super sectional game, you don't come back from that unless you got a little bad to the bone, a little nasty to you, and boy, they sure do. But, you know, they are, you know, the best part of those young ladies, they're great students. You know, they've played multiple sports. They're just very well-rounded. They represent us very, very well, and that is crazy and classy. That's what we're all about.
All right, thanks, and
thank you
good
so
luck
much.
this weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you. When's this going to
Get on there. I'm going to walk in the bus. Tell them to scream.
You're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4.
We actually brought that up this year.
Well, let's leave it.
Hey, when the camera guy gets on here, you're supposed to scream. Hey, are you listening to me? Yeah! Go to state!